If you're in the quality world, you know that feeling, right? Constantly chasing down mistakes, putting out fires. Well, what if there was a better way? Today, we're going to dive into three really powerful tools from ISO 10009 that are all about shifting from that reactive chaos to proactive prevention. Let's get into it. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the big picture idea of getting ahead of problems. Then we'll dig into three specific tools, something called Poka-Yoke, the simple power of visuals, and then how to actually calculate the cost of quality. And by the end, you'll have a solid toolkit you can start using right away. It's just exhausting being in fighting fire mode all the time. The whole idea of proactive quality is pretty simple, but it's also profound. It is always cheaper, smarter, and just plain better to prevent a problem than it is to fix one after the fact. This isn't just about tweaking a process, it's about changing your entire mindset. So let me ask you this. Just imagine for a second. What if you could design your process so well that making a mistake was literally impossible? Sounds kind of like magic, right? Well, it's not. It's an incredibly powerful concept, and it's our first tool. And that brings us to Poka-Yoke. It's a Japanese term, and it basically means mistake-proofing or error-proofing. And the genius of it is that it's not about some fancy, expensive technology. It's all about clever, simple, often physical design changes that make it physically impossible to do something the wrong way. So here's the official definition. It's all about stopping an incorrect action using physical or electronic controls. Think of it like building guardrails directly into your process. You're not just hoping people do it right, you're making it part of the fundamental design. Here's a super simple example. Let's say you've got a part that can be put on backward. That's just an accident waiting to happen. But with Poka-Yoke thinking, you might add a small guide pin and a matching hole. Now it only fits the correct way. Problem solved. You see this every day with things like a USB cable. You just can't plug it in upside down. It's brilliant in its simplicity. And this is absolutely crucial. This isn't just a nice-to-have for convenience. In industries where safety or function is critical, think aerospace, medical devices, Poka-Yoke is a non-negotiable. When a mistake could be catastrophic, you simply have to design that possibility out of the equation. So the benefits are huge, right? You're building a more robust, more reliable process from the ground up. But here's the key thing to remember. This isn't something you can just tack on at the end. It has to be baked into the design from the very, very beginning. Okay, so Poka-Yoke is great for physical assembly mistakes, but what about those errors that happen because of misinterpretation? That's where our second tool comes in, visual aids. This is all about tackling that fuzzy gray area of ambiguity and getting everyone to see good quality in exactly the same way. And this slide just says it all, doesn't it? Look at the left, a text description that says something like a minor linear surface abrasion not exceeding 0.5 millimeters. I mean, what does that even look like? Now look at the right, a picture. This is acceptable, this is not. Instantly, everybody gets it. No jargon, no confusion, no arguments. At its core, that's what a visual aid is. It's a picture that becomes the standard. It's a universal language that cuts across experience levels, training, and even language barriers. It creates a single source of truth that anyone can point to. And you can use these for everything, classifying different types of defects, showing exactly where a problem is located on a part, even for grading natural products. I mean, could you imagine trying to describe the perfect color and shape of a tomato in words? Or you could just show a picture. The picture wins every single time. The real beauty of visual aids is just how simple and effective they are. They're easy to create, easy to use, and they make standards crystal clear. The only things you really need to remember are to review them once in a while to make sure they're still relevant, and maybe think about things like proper lighting so everyone sees the same thing. All right, on to our third and final tool. This is the one that really gets management to sit up and listen because it speaks the language every business understands. Money. We're talking about the cost of quality, and it's all about putting a dollar value on your quality efforts. So when we talk about the cost of quality, or COQ, we're not just talking about the cost of scrap or rework. We're talking about the whole iceberg. It includes the costs of failure, both the ones you catch internally and, even worse, the ones your customers find, plus the costs of everything you do to check for and prevent those failures in the first place. Now this chart, this tells a really powerful story. In a lot of organizations, most of the money is spent on failure, fixing things that have already gone wrong. The whole point of tracking the cost of quality is to flip this chart on its head. The goal is to invest a little more in those small slices, prevention and appraisal, so you can shrink those giant, expensive failure costs down to almost nothing. And this right here is why it's so powerful. This is how you make the business case for new equipment, for more training, for better processes. When you can walk into a meeting and talk about quality in terms of dollars and cents, you're not just talking about a technical problem anymore. You're talking about a strategic business decision. So when you really focus on the cost of quality, you're doing so much more than just saving a bit of money on scrap. You're building a more competitive, more efficient, and ultimately more profitable company. It's all about making those smart upfront investments to get a massive return later on.
Okay, so we've covered three pretty different but incredibly powerful tools. Let's wrap this up and see how they all fit together to form a really practical toolkit you can use.
So here you have it, your quality improvement trifecta. You've got Poka-Yoke to design mistakes right out of the process. You've got visual aids to make sure everyone is on the exact same page. And you've got the cost of quality to measure your impact and prove the value of what you're doing. It's an amazing combination. So, I'll leave you with this one final thought, a challenge really. Think about your own process right now. Where could one of these tools, just one, make the biggest difference starting tomorrow? The power to shift from reactive to proactive is right there in your hands. Now go make it happen.